Music actually uses only a small number of notes. Let's have a look at my chromatic clock here. I've just drawn the sharps and we'll count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 notes before we repeat the pattern again. So if I just turn that into real music, I'll find a C here on my melodica. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. Now I'm back at a C, and this is what I've sung with my voice. And you see visually, it's Groundhog Day again. I've reached the white note that's just to the left of the pair of blacks, and that's another C. And then I can go up another octave. Now in doing so, and keeping my notes consistent, as I repeat the pattern, I've made a scale. And in this case, I've made what's called a chromatic scale, which means I've used every note name available, right, which is 12 of them. Now, not all music uses all 12 notes. In fact, a lot of music becomes distinctive through a reduction in the notes that are used, rather than using all available 12. So, for example, if I get my C again, here is a major scale, here is a minor, also called an aeolian. This sounds minor, but in fact it's Dorian. This is the major, but then becomes mixolydian. So you'll see, quite often I'm using 8 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, rather than the 12, which means I must be missing some notes out. I'll get my C again. I'm going to sing up a C major scale, which actually is going to use all these white notes from C up to C, and it's not going to hit any of the black notes. C is called my root note. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now I've missed out the C sharp, the D sharp, the F sharp, the G sharp, the A sharp, and those are all the black notes on the piano. And so my pattern here is I've gone a root note, then I've skipped over, so I've made a step of 2 on the clock, we call it. So it's root, 2 to the next note, 2 to the next note, now a 1, 1 to the next note, 2 to the next note, 2 to the next note, 2 to the next note, and finally 1 to get to my root note. And this is called a major scale. And we can learn it as a pattern of root 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. So I'll just redraw my clock. And now we're going to start a scale on an A. And again, we're just going to use the white notes on the piano, and we're not going to go to any of the sharps, which are the black notes. I'll get an A from the keyboard. Here we go. A's my root, root. B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And I've made a pattern called the natural minor. This can also be called the aeolian, which starts making me think of chips with garlic aeolian, makes me hungry. Aeolian mode. It's also sometimes called the pure minor. And let's look at its step pattern. I'll get my A again. Root. We jump over the A sharp, don't we? So we go root, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, back to the root. And that's our natural minor, aeolian mode, and pure minor. Now, for the purposes of this level of music theory, that scale is going to be known as the minor. Let's get rid of all those other words. And the other really important scale we're going to learn is the major. And we can learn these as step patterns. Here was our minor root, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. And here's our C for our root, for our major, root, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Now, those patterns we really need to learn. We need to learn them with our voices, and we also need to learn them as number patterns that we can remember. You might remember it as a rhythm. Root 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. Or root 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. You might find some other system of remembering those 2s and 1s. Just looking at them, you'll see that both scales have mostly 2s and have a pair of 1s which are not together. So there's always 2 steps of 1. The rest of them are 2s, and the first note is always called the root. Think of the root note like the root of a tree. Okay, it's right where the tree starts, and the tree rises from there, just like the scale rises from its root note. The last thing I just want to show you actually involves some walking around the room. I'll get a note again for my C major. A good way to just spatially learn your scales is by using steps. And because we only have in a major scale and a minor scale a step of 2 or 1, use a large step every time you go up a step of 2, and use a small step every time you go up a step of 1. And call out the note number as we do it. So we're root, and then we go 2, 2, small step, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, and then down again. From the top, root, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, small step, 2, started. So that was for the major. And the minor, we'll go root, 2, 1, small step, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, up to the top and then down 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, and we're back where we started.